Coming up on this vacation edition of Locked On Senators. Wow, what a win last night over the Toronto Maple Leafs. But today, we're just having on another SensCentral Citizen. And Eric has seen both sides of the Battle of Ontario.
Yeah, Ross, we love a redemption story from starting off as a Leafs fan as a child. He saw the light and joined the good side. We learn all about how Eric became an Ottawa Senators fan.
Great conversation coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Welcome inside episode 947 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. You can follow the show on social media. We're at SensCentral on Twitter, LockedOn.Senators on Instagram. The show is free and available on all podcast platforms, including on YouTube, where a like, comment, and subscription go a long way to helping the show grow. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers in the U.S. get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Today is Thursday, December 28th, and Pilsy, wow, I can't believe that game last night.
What a high-scoring affair. I mean, a back-and-forth game, high physicality. You can see the animosity that these two teams have. Throw the record books out when these two teams play, Ross, because the hatred is real.
I just hope that there's some Leaf fans that are clicking this the day after the game, like just ready to get mad at us. We're on a beach. We're on a beach, man. We can't get mad at you right now, but we'll see you down the road. We will.
Yeah, I mean, Leafs fans, thanks for the clicks. Hello. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be anything that pisses off a Leafs fan more than two Sens fans wearing flannel shirts and bucket hats talking about pre-recording about how a game went. So sorry about that, guys.
Well, I can just be like, they said the Sens won. The Sens didn't win. The Sens lost.
Poverty franchise, rent free.
Well, all I have to say to you, Leaf fans, is we'll see you February 10th. Same time, same place, February 10th, when these two teams get back together in Ottawa. The Sens and Leafs will actually, is that the last time they'll play this season?
I think it will be.
That's sad. I could have used one more. Yeah, that's it.
Round one?
That means that because they had that early game where Ottawa won, so it will be four. It will be four times. It will be four times. Yeah. But so we'll have some good what would you call it, rivalry banter. I mean I can't even like sound mad because there has been no physicality this year when these two teams play against each other.
Except last night.
It's kind of taken the bite out of the battle. So hopefully that changes. Hopefully that changed, but hopefully the Sens get a win. But the Sens got a win on the fan base side getting Eric, because not only is Eric a Sens fan now, but he's also just a seriously good dude.
Yeah, first we have Jeff O'Neill convert to a Sens fan earlier this season, and now Eric has followed his footsteps, so we love to see that.
Yeah, let's get right to it. This week's SensCentral Citizen, it is Eric. And reformed Toronto Maple Leafs fan now doing the Lord's work. Here is Eric. All right, we're now very pleased to welcome on this week's SensCentral Citizen. We're bringing on Eric. You can follow Eric on Twitter at ERLISK1987. Eric is not only a great follow for all of his content, but he's also giving away free Senators tickets. So stay tuned for all that online. Eric, we appreciate you being a SensCentral Citizen. How are you doing today?
Thanks, boys. Pretty pumped up. You know, I'm just getting over the my mourning period after last night's New Era loss, but I'm pumped to be on the show with you guys today. It's been a mini dream of mine, a bucket list item for a while, I know, and it's like I really appreciate this, guys. So good to chat with you guys today.
Oh, you're the best. We appreciate it. We can already tell this is going to be a great conversation. And I want to start off just letting everyone know we're recording this on December 20th. So the loss he's talking about is, the one to the Arizona Coyotes, where they allowed 4 straight goals. But hopefully the tides have turned by the time you're listening to this, because there are 2 games in between. Or 3 games, rather. And they've got the Avalanche on the road, then Pittsburgh and the Leafs at home. But Eric, let's start off with the nuts and bolts. How did you become an Ottawa Senators fan?
Well, guys, I have, I have a story. I don't want the SensCentral Citizens to hate me, but we all have to see the light one day.
And I know where this is going.
So I actually grew up around, it's called the Halton Hills area in Georgetown. So maybe about 40 minutes from Toronto, like Brampton, Mississauga area. And I'm an 80s, 90s kid. When you grow up, the team that you cheer for is dictated by your geographical location. So I don't have internet. I'm watching Hockey Night in Canada. The team that's always broadcast is the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry, everybody. But that's, it's like being born into a cult that, you didn't choose your family. You didn't, you're just born there. You have to do things this way and that way. And you don't really know why. But then I came to an age of maturity where I'm like, this doesn't really seem right. They try hard, but they always let you down when it matters. I think I'm going to make that switch. So I went from being a Leaf fan to, I guess in 2019, I was posted to Ottawa. I was 11 and a half years in the military. And, during that time, thank you. It's always so awkward. It was like, thank you for your service. You're like, just working. But, the boys out there, they're doing a great job. The
big time. The
boys and women. So I think when I moved here, it's like I was still trying to be a Leaf fan. And everyone around me is wearing a Sens jersey. And I was actually able to go to my first Leaf game at the Canadian Tire Center because,
nice. Okay.
Tickets were cheap. I could actually pay the price. You're not mortgaging or selling a kidney to go in the standing room only, to get disappointed. So I end up going to a couple of preseason games and then like, oh, this Brady guy, he's pretty cool.
Nice.
Like the team's losing, but like they're kind of fun to watch. You have this Timmy guy who's up and coming. He's playing with, a couple of bums and he's got talent. Oh, Brady's going to stick up for these guys. He's going to fight for you. Norris has this bomb. Like I just started slowly being like in the back of the head, like, come hang out with us, come be a Sens fan. And I'm like, not yet.
Okay.
COVID happens. Cool. Now I'm out of the military and I only have time for hockey.
Nice.
So I'm immersing myself in all the content that was out there. And I come across, these 2 dudes that are just being bros and they're talking about the Ottawa Senators. I'm like, okay, sure. I'll listen to these guys. And I was hooked, man. Like it was just a team I didn't really care for. And then just, at first I was like, oh, I like these podcasters. They're cool. But then I started learning everything about, the minors, like everybody in the system, the potential, everything about it. I became an Ottawa Senators expert. I don't even know I didn't know anybody in the Leaf system.
Right.
Ottawa. Cool. I'm like, Crooker comes up. I know who Crooker is when he's coming up. I'm rooting for him. I feel like I have a personal attachment to this team. It's like you two are both these storytellers that are so good at telling all the facts while making it an enjoyable experience that I'm like, well, I know this guy. So when Crooker scores last night, I'm with his brother, I'm up there and I'm cheering. I'm feeling exactly. And his mom's like, calm down. Violence is not right. No fighting in hockey. And she's, you can kind of see that. And he's like, yeah, give another dude, like that's the stuff that I love. And the final straw was I had taken a friend to a Leaf game in Ottawa. Okay. And, I'm wearing I had like a camo OHL jersey from the France.
Okay.
So I was on the ice with the Memorial Cup for the ceremony. So they took us off the ice after and they took us, they had all the players' jerseys that played. So game worn, and they're like, take one off the rack.
Nice.
So we got these jerseys. So I wear that because, it gives honor to the military, but also, I'm the only one there. It feels like I'm the only one cheering for the Sens, and I'm surrounded. So we're surrounded by Leaf fans, and we're there, and, Leaf fans are getting rowdy. And every time they walk past my buddy and I, who is a Leaf fan, but we can't hold them against that, right? And so they're walking by, they spill their beer on us.
Oh.
So, I believe in, happiness, love, peace, all that stuff, ironic because I was in the military, but I believe there's better ways to de-escalate a situation. So I'm just like, it's okay, man, go on. But the thing is, he had spilt our beers on the way.
Oh.
So I'm a man of moral hockey code. If thou who spills another fan's beer shall reimburse that beer or something, or possibly say sorry. Nothing. So we go about our business. Second period comes. Same guy comes back up. This time, I have a strong boots on the ground plant protecting my beer. He does a shuffle, like a moonwalk down the aisle, kicking our beers. And I'm just like, this isn't real. Beer gone. Once again, nothing. And I don't know if it's more awkward for us or for the fans behind us going, those Ottawa Senators fans aren't even asking. They're just ignoring the situation.
Yeah.
Third period comes. Sitting there, we're kind of like, oh, okay. The guy, I don't know what he does. He's like, yay, we got scored on again. Go Sens, go. Drops his beer all over our backs. And we're just like, turn around. And then the guy, I realized it was just some old grandpa the whole time. And that's when I'm like, I had compassion. This old grandpa drove from Toronto. He's drunk as a skunk. He's having a blast. But the etiquette around him of the not even a sorry made me think, I don't want to be a part of this cult anymore.
Yep.
So I've officially cut ties. I mean, I've been a diehard fan for the past 2 years, but it's it feels good to cheer for a team and you actually feel like you have some skin in the game, even though we don't. I'm wearing Giroux's jersey. It doesn't matter. I'm not getting paid when they put the puck in the net, but it's just I feel that emotional attachment to the Sens now because of that kind of that storyline, that narrative you guys have created. And now it's like, oh, the game ends. Oh, what did Ross and Pilsy have to say? And Martian, it's like those points of view and that content, that's entertaining. It's amazing. And
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Mary J's. Mary J's is a locally owned cannabis dispensary in the Ottawa area. It started off 3 best friends coming together and making a life-changing decision. They grinded, and through hard work and dedication, they now have 4 stores in Ottawa. The Ottawa locations are Riverside South, Orleans, Greeley, and Russell. Mary J's offers the absolute best and newest products on the market, with many new additions to the menu every single week. Mary J's has everything you will need, whether you're a rookie or a grizzled vet. Mary J's offers competitive pricing. In fact, they will price match any store in Ottawa. So you're guaranteed to get the best price around at Mary J's. Why would you go anywhere else? They also offer the best customer service around by having the friendliest bud tenders who are always ready to assist. One of the owners, Dashy, is an absolute beauty, and he's a diehard Sens fan. So go to one of the 4 locations, say what up to Dashy, pick his brains about the Sens and all the newest, greatest products at Mary J's. So check it out today, guys. It's Mary J's Dispensary.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Sleeper. The only place I visit when I'm looking for fantasy daily is the Sleeper app. And if you want to win 100 times your money, then why wouldn't you play daily fantasy hockey on the Sleeper app? There are always possible scenarios, but you have the chance of picking your own and winning big. As the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network, Sleeper is our top choice for daily fantasy sports, especially hockey. With Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. And when you have studs like Brady Tkachuk, Claude Giroux, Jake Sanderson, and Drake Batherson, all you need is pick more or less on stats for stars like this. Choose goals, assists, plus, minus, and more. You heard me, Sens fans. Get 100 times your payout on Sleeper. So start paying attention and you could win big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and locational availability apply. That's LOCKEDONNHL is the code. Use Sleeper's terms of use for details.
I feel like I'm in the right place.
Eric,
I know that was a
people are going
long-winded answer, guys. I'm sorry, but that's
No, that was
why I'm a
great.
defense fan.
Well, people are going to think that we planted you into this show to pump our own tires. That's the only thing I'm worried about, but we do appreciate the kind words.
Absolutely.
Before we get your thoughts on the Senators team today and initially when you started, because you joined at quite the time in Senators history, what was the first, do you remember what the first episode of Locked On Sens was you found? I just want to get a sense of where along the line you found the show.
I'm
like
sure
the
if
first-
I did, I was prepared for today, and that was I'm looking at my notepad. I didn't write down my prep for that, but I can remember I had just moved to Orleans. A lot of good things came from Orleans, like Pierre. But I had kind of I'm curious if it was one of the episodes right when the Dipper stuff was happening. That's what first drew me into it. I feel like I had researched something on YouTube and then it came to the pod. So I don't want to do a disservice by the date, but it was around 2021 when I was like catching up on all the episodes and then like waiting for the next day when I found Twitter. LOSP. Okay, refresh. Episode's coming out. Perfect. Nice. Get in there, hit the like button. I have my signature solid exclamation mark that I put on every episode. Get awareness to the show. And I think it was around that time.
I love it.
Well, we appreciate you, and we're glad you didn't drink the Kool-Aid that comes along with the Toronto Maple Leafs cult, and you switch sides. So we'll forgive you for a past. Now that you've made the right choice, Eric, we're glad to have you on our side. Now, was there a bit of a from your family and friends when you made that transition from a Leafs fan to a Sens fan? Was that like, getting a new haircut and everyone's like, whoa, something's new with Eric here. What's going on with the Sens stuff? And did you get a lot of maybe pushback? And especially you mentioned everyone growing up around you was Leafs fans. Did you have a lot of concerned Leafs fans being like, Eric, what's up with this?
Well, you mentioned a bad haircut. I kind of want to make a comparison to, I know Lady Gaga wore this controversial like meat dress.
Yeah, okay.
And everyone was like, ugh, and it caused all this controversy. It was kind of like that. I had like posting a picture at the game with my fiance Emily, and we're like in our Sens jerseys, and all the Leafs fans, well, my family is essentially like, oh, you're wearing the wrong thing, and I'm just getting it all in the comments. I'm like, well, comments off for that one. Okay. But what kind of really got me is my Aunt Karen. She's such a lovely person. And she's a huge Leafs fan. And she's like, I don't know if I can, forgive you, you're cheering for the other team. And I kind of got the aunt guilt, but nothing was pulling me back into the dark days of first round exit. Cool. Good job, guys. We got this. So
what I would do for a first round exit right now.
But at least we know we're going to be disappointed, right? Like I have the mental resiliency over, just a couple of years of watching the Sens play to know it's going to be okay in 1, 5 or 10 years.
See, that's where the difference is between you and me. And I need to take some from you because for me, they made the playoffs for the first time in franchise history when I was 5 years old.
Ugh.
And then they didn't miss the playoffs until I was out of high school. So this was a long period of developmental years where I could set my clock to every April watching playoff hockey. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, at least it's every other year because they made it in 2010, 12, 13, and then 15 and 17. It was like, more or less every other year. And now it's just been dark, dark times. And I mean, you jumped on the wagon a little bit later on. What was the number one reason in terms of the on-ice product that Like, of course, you can see the, the outside noise and about the fact that there's something to cheer for. I love kind of your mentality of why you like Ottawa over Toronto. But on the ice, I mean, there still has to be the attraction to the way the players play that keeps you engaged night in and night out watching the product on the ice. Was that Timmy or Brady? What was the one player, if you had to single out, saying, I'm a Sens fan and this is my guy?
Well, it's 100% Brady. I have, I think, 3 Brady jerseys.
Nice.
Well, 2. One was a mess up by Fanatics.
No, tell me about that.
What was it? Yeah.
It's all the stitching, or like the letters, they're like falling off.
Oh.
So I open my package and it's just like, cool, I got a birdie teacher, like a couple of letters, and then like,
this is who the NHL got in bed with to do all their gear for the next 10 years. Embarrassing.
I don't know. Maybe they're good in bed, I guess, right? But who knows? That's sadness. But when it comes to Brady, being a Leaf fan, I didn't see that. What we got, Matthews and Marner, we got a lot of skill. That was cool. But then I watched the Sens. That's what I want. I want that dog, I want Brady like going out there. Like, I know they're young and I say inexperienced, but it's getting to that point where we can't use that excuse anymore. But I can see how much they do want it on some nights. And when that passion comes out, it's like everyone's diving, like they're throwing their bodies down for a block. They're leading the game in block shots. All their advanced metrics are really shining through. Like, they're actually controlling the game. And I love that you can have guys like Brady that can just throw the whole army on his back and be like, we're going to war, guys. And if you see one of your buddies, like I relate to the Army, if you see one of your buddies charging head first, I mean, I know it's not trench warfare and this isn't Passchendaele or anything, but you see one of your buddies, that camaraderie you have with your brothers and sisters, I'm following him. It's like, I'm not letting him go. And that's what I feel like. Brady's going in there. He's getting that fight. He's like, I don't care who you are. I want the team to win. When you have somebody with that ability to put it on their back, Austin Matthews can't do that. What's he going to go challenge Austin Watson to a slap off? Like, it's not going to happen, right? So I think, to answer your question, Brady and future Brady tenfold. So
we need him to be in the playoffs. So you're a big jersey guy?
Yeah. I wasn't, but I turned into one because during when COVID started, I'm like, okay, I want to start buying some jerseys. So I had like a Chris Tanev jersey from Seattle just because, I wanted that jersey for the memes,
cool new thing,
the pictures. Yeah. And then Willie Nylander, and then it was just Brady. When I would order them, they'd always have a defect. So I had Adidas defects, I had Fanatics defects. Jeez. And so they'd come in and I'm like, well, this isn't right. So they would end up just shipping me a new jersey. I'd keep the old one, go to a tailor and get it fixed.
Right.
So now I have this like plethora of jerseys.
Word of the day.
Word of the day for sure, right there. That's hilarious. So
don't ask me to define it though, because
no, I always have to like stall enough that I can Google the definition for sure.
I don't even know how to spell that one.
Where's that William Nylander jersey right now?
I don't know. I think we ran out of like trash bags or something, so we were just using it to collect the compost.
That was a test. Eric. You passed it.
Listen, there's no testing me anymore. I had a bucket list item, which was the Sea Leaf playoff game. And this was when I was like a small child, maybe like 7 or 8. I'd written it down on things I wanted to do. So last year, they make the second round against Florida.
Yep.
I fly out to Sunrise, Florida to go see a game. And this is just for the bucket list. And I realized as I'm making the trip, how actually little I cared about going to see the Leafs play. And I was like, oh, but as I'm jumping on the flight, I get pulled out by Carlton the Bear at the Toronto Pearson Airport. I end up doing Leafs trivia, which I know nothing about. Ask me Senators trivia, and I'm okay. I knew nothing about it, but Carlton the Bears are whispering the answers to me. So I end up winning two tickets to fly anywhere in North America.
Whoa.
So I end up getting on the Leafs Instagram. I'm like, oh, Sens fans are going to kill me when they see this. And I end up flying to the game, and I'm sitting beside 2 Leafs fans from St. Catharines, Ontario. At the end of the game, when we lost, of course, I was just sitting there, like, thinking, oh, instant regret. You know, I just did all this to come out here. Well, at least I got 2 tickets to anywhere in the world, you know? Maybe I'm going to go see the Sens play in Vegas. Thank you, Toronto Maple Leafs.
So
go Sens, go.
What the ramifications on those tickets? Like, do they expired? You got to pick a day? Like, what are you going to do with those?
So it was, we ended up going to Portugal.
Sick. Nice.
So you had to use North America. So we just flew to like Boston, it made me sick getting off that airplane. And you have like, I'm a hockey fan. I love Bobby Orr. I love hockey history, but walking down and just seeing Boston fans and just Boston, I was like, whoo, you know, get me back to Shawarma Palace and we go. Like, come on now.
Dude, that's and you got a Shawarma Palace right in the neighborhood out in Orleans.
So we ended up moving to Chelsea, Quebec.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, nice.
So when I come, I still keep my physio in Orleans, so I still go. So every
Amazing.
Thursday I'm going to Shawarma Palace, and I'm just like it's just so good. Like, come on.
It's so. Are you a platter or a sandwich guy?
I mix it up. You know, I don't discriminate between my shawarmas. If I'm feeling like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to be rushed for lunch, I get a platter.
Yes.
If I'm just, you know, on the run, I'm going to get a sandwich.
Yeah.
But,
good man.
That's
Hills
awesome.
eats his sandwiches as fast as you eat your platters, though. I'll promise you that.
Yes, I am a notorious slow eater. That's for sure. Now, Eric, let's get into this coaching change here.
Okay.
Do you feel like the Ottawa Senators made this move? Two-part question. Did they make this move soon enough in the season that they have enough time to turn things around and hopefully make a push by the time the end of the season comes here? And was it the right move that it will have a big enough impact to turn this team around?
well, I think I do believe it was soon enough in theory. I feel like they couldn't have done it any sooner because the way this new organization came in, you can tell that they're people, like they're trying to create a long-term thing. I know it's hard for us where we're just like, it's easier for me to say because I haven't experienced all the pain that you guys have. So I come in with a little bit of pain and I'm just starting to see the hope. It's like, you know, I got my investment at a good time and I'm just riding the happy wave with a couple of ups and downs and crashes along the way. But they want to do things the right way. So DJ, even with DJ's exit interview, but he, you know, was on TSN and he just the class after being let go. And you can tell how much passion he had and he's still rooting for the guys. He's like, you know, I know they're going to do it. So I feel like when you have good people, you need to treat good people with respect. So when Alfie kind of got some exposure and then Jacques Martin got put into oversight role, I was like, okay, writing's on the wall. Like, and DJ knows, like, he's a smart guy. He knows when these things are happening that we got to do it. Like, come on, guys, we got to do it. Pull for me, Timmy, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like, so it didn't work out. They were able to kind of make that transition cool. We're at 26 games, I think. 26, 27.
It would have been 26 games because they were 11 and 15. Now
Right.
11 and 16.
So I feel like that, Mark, we're maybe 82 game season, you know.
Math guy.
Well, I feel like you have 50 something games left.
Yeah.
So if we're able to get this record, you know, other teams can have this record too in the next 25 games. So there's always hope. Injuries can happen. With that being said, I know he wants to keep the system. And I'm not sure what it is. They need to figure out what it is. If it's just the little details, they're a great offensive team. You have how many snipers? All your defensemen are puck moving, left-handed D. I mean, maybe it will work. I don't know. When I'm looking at successful clubs that are at salary cap, they have a bit more grit and they have good stay-at-home defensemen that can play their roles. You know, that's work in process, and we have a new management team, and I think there's a possibility. That's me being hopefully optimistic. And I think that even if it's not this year, the way they're building, this is going to be, we have to remember when I go look at Cap Friendly, I see how many studs that are young locked up for how many years. So if this year isn't the year, and I know it sucks to say that, they're building a great foundation for a long-term club that's going to win.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook app of the Locked On Podcast Network, and for a good reason. They're number one in North America. Why would you go anywhere else? Right now, new customers in the U.S. can get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 money line bet that wins. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is the best out there. I promise you. It's simple, safe, and secure. If a guy like me can use it, you can too. Why do I love the FanDuel app? Because you can bet on spreads, player props, over-unders. You can make parlays, all those things. And it's not just hockey. They got basketball, football, and so much more. So if you want to get in on the action, do it at the best spot. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get in on the action today, guys. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Now, that being said, Eric, after the coach, then all of a sudden the pressure's on one unit, and that is the players themselves. And in terms of that cap-friendly page, there's lots of guys who are signed for 4 or more seasons. Timmy, Brady, Norris up front, even Drake Batherson. And then on the back end, Artem Zub and Jake Sanderson signed for 9 years. So obviously we can look at through this 2 lenses. I see it as the lens. Obviously things are very positive. The core is locked up. But how do you surround that with the right pieces quickly? Because otherwise, those are the guys who you're going to have to look at as the leadership of this group that's going to have to get things going in the right direction, ... or else.
Well, I think, it might not even be like, if you look on paper, that talent, or even if you browse Cap Friendly, and I mean, I'm addicted to Cap Friendly, I'll say it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I'm prepping Sens rosters for the next 10, 20 years. I mean, I know it only goes up for the next.
You've got Gavin Giroux in your lineup in the last one.
He's there, and his dad's going to be a mentor on the ice. It's, of course. You can just tell what some things are going to be. But I think the issue so we're great on paper. Sure, there's been some injury thing, some bad bounces, but all those excuses aside, when we look at, okay, you have a bunch of young kids who are best friends outside of this. You're going to the rink and you're playing with your buddies. You're all signed long-term. You have no fear. You have no accountability. And DJ, I don't think, even though he was a great guy and he was great for that rebuild, to give these guys confidence and to bring that, we can love the game at this level. But now it's time to be like, okay, you get tone deaf a lot of times. We get parent deaf, where I'll listen, don't listen to my dad. My mom says the same thing. I listen right away, So maybe it takes that new voice who's going to be, I don't care if you're Tim Stützle. If you have a temper tantrum on the ice again, I'm going to pull you until you start realizing, okay, maybe I can react a bit differently. How would Alfie react in that case? And you're coming back to the bench after you might have done something immature, and you're looking Alfie in the eye. He's going to hold you accountable, which we saw last night. Yep. Jacques talking to Timmy, or I think it was Alfie going to Casty, we pay you to be a goon. Like, come on, rock'em sock'em, Casty. Let's finish our checks,
Hey, they should sit Casty in a room with rock'em sock'em Don Cherry back in the day and not let him out until his eyes are open with toothpicks.
Yep. I love those tapes. We would get one on Christmas morning.
The best.
Oh, yeah. And just keep rewinding our favorite fights.
Lucky 13 was always my favorite for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, all of them were great, man. Because I mean, that's the thing too. Because he's 6'4", 225 pounds. And that's something like this guy. And I know we're kind of dating because the Sens have played a couple of games, but that Jack McBain on Arizona was playing exactly like I want Casty to play. Yep. Every puck battle, he was finishing his checks, going in hard, and teams that aren't, the most skilled, or players, I should say, because there's different lines within a team. they need to be playing that. Like Parker Kelly, the same thing. Like, I mean, he scored in his first NHL game too, and he was playing very pesky hockey. So maybe I'm speaking too soon with Angus Crookshank, but like that's the type of player that I want Kelly to be, is hard on pucks and make things annoying for the other team. I find too much. It's just, they play their shift. They go out there, they have their 35 seconds of cardio. And if it goes their way, great. If not, then they didn't get the bounces. And that's kind of where it comes down to, where they're not pushing the pressure of on themselves, saying, hey, I only have 30 seconds before I have to come to the bench, and I better come back with like a guy going out hunting. I better come back with some food for my family or my coaches and be able to show them something. Otherwise, I don't know when I'm getting back over the boards. I don't think that was ever an issue in Ottawa. And I listened to DJ this morning on 1200 too. And look, injuries, a lot of teams are going through it. The Colorado Avalanche are being pretty hard on themselves. And guess what? One of the best defensemen in the National Hockey League, the best, I'll say, actually, Cale Makar, hasn't been in the lineup 3 games. That hasn't been an excuse for them. They're saying that and no Landeskog. They don't have their captain. And like, there's no excuses there. They're saying we have not been good enough. And I love Jared Bednar. And if anyone hasn't heard Jared Bednar's availability, all of them, and by this point it'll be a week later, but he just says we have 20 capable guys in that room. And if they're incapable, they should let me know and I won't put them on the ice. Like that. Isn't that how it should be? And it just feels like for too long in Ottawa, it's been like, okay, but you're developing by getting shifts and time on ice. It's like, no, you need to show development in other ways.
Developing.
So, that's kind of where I'm at with this group. It's time for the phase. And I guess what I was starting to say there with DJ too is like he blamed injuries and blamed Shane Pinto. He basically said, I couldn't bench guys because I didn't have Shane Pinto to like play those minutes. And it's just like, well, if they're incapable, and they need to learn that there's only one way to have that. Now, I mean, your past life there in the military too, like, isn't discipline and accountability like number one on the list of what you need to bring every single day?
Accountability, integrity, discipline. And like, if you're not where someone next to you isn't, I mean, you kind of question a bit, right? And if you're one day, say in the trenches, I know that's a dated analogy, but you want to be able to trust them 100%.
Yep.
And if I'm on the ice and I'm Tarasenko and I'm coming down and I have the option to snipe it or toss it over to you, if I'm tossing a muffin to Jonas Höglund, or I guess that's a old Leaf reference, but if I'm tossing a muffin to Dylan Gambrell, and even if it's a perfect pass, am I sure he's going to bury it? No, I'm probably going to shoot every time because I'm Tarasenko. But, I got Giroux coming down. I know, he's accountable. He's got that passion. He's going to play hard every night. I know I'm going to put it to him. He's going to do something good with it. And I think we need that, because otherwise I go, say you have 7 shifts, right? Now you're in the second period and you're going out there and, you had a little bad shift. You kind of just glided around the ice. You didn't back check. But I'm Tim Stützle or whoever. And I love Timmy. I love these guys. I think they're great players, but everyone, you always have to humble yourself, be a student of the game, look at that next level and be like, what can I improve? Because we're not perfect. And I think as soon as that accountability comes in, where it's like, all right, first line, you back out. No, Timmy, sit Josh out. Then he's going to be like, I'm not going to glide around on my next shift. I'm going to back check hard. I'm going to be Crookshank, who's fighting. So Crookshank's fighting for that next game because he knows how deep that talent is. When you look at him on the ice, there's not a moment when I see him like he's giving it everything. Like, that's what you want. The whole team can do that. And it's just that ability. When you get to that playoffs, there's that edge. There's something there. You have that dog in you to be released in the playoff or in the regular season to make it to the playoffs. Just got to bring it out.
And like you'd think for a team that, and I don't want to like focus only on the bottom line guys, but you're looking at a time here where there's been no interchanging elements in the bottom part of the lineup where that's where when things aren't going well, yeah, you've got your top guys locked up, but like Parker Kelly has played 124 NHL games. Mark Kaslick's played 94 NHL games. Like, these guys have been stapled they're in pen in their parts in the lineup where they like, why aren't you taking out for 1 game at a time or 2 games at a time and saying, hey, this is not the way you can play to be in the lineup. It's just, we need to raise the standard of what everything's going on. Pills?
100%.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement there. Hopefully people can look at Crooker and kind of get invigorated a little bit and say, hey, this guy, he's coming up, he's working hard, we all got to do the same here. Now, Eric, this has been awesome. I think you're officially the longest SensCentral Citizen we've had, so we've appreciated these chats. It's been great. So even in 33 minutes, though, maybe there's something we didn't get to. I always like to do this with the citizens. Is there something we didn't get to, a memory, a story, or you got questions for us? The floor is yours, Eric.
You know, I talk a lot, and I wrote a note saying, you know, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So,
Okay.
And then as I'm looking through, I'm like, droned on so much. You know,
That's awesome.
I think it's the excitement, but you guys are beauties, and I'm glad to finally talk to you. Honestly, I just wanted to say a quick little, I used to hate Alfie from 2002, the playoffs, when Tucker gets hit and then Alfie goes and scores. And I knew nothing about this player because, like I said, we don't have highlights or anything. I mean, whatever you see on your Don Cherry videos, right? But it's so weird how in, 20 years now I'm like, I have an Alfie bobblehead, from bobblehead night. And it's like, I just have been rewatching all of his, like iconic Alfie moments on YouTube and stuff. And it's
through a new lens now. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And now I see him. I'm like, I get it. I was at the home opener when he came out.
Oh.
And I look around and I see like grown men crying. And everyone's like, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm like,
yeah.
What? And now I get it. I'm watching highlights of that home opener, and now I'm crying. I'm like, I love you, Alfie. Take us to the promised land. So I just want to say I'm glad it's come full circle, and you have someone respected like that, a Hall of Famer, that you can look up to. I don't care, your Norris, your Stutzla, you got your guys with it's God-given talent, and I know they work hard, but you have someone who's done it. So now he can help get people to that next level. It's a great time to be a Sens fan. We just got to look a bit longer term. And I wish it was, I could say something else along that lines. But, hey, they're going to turn it around.
I love it, Eric. That's great positivity. Everyone can go follow Eric on Twitter, ERLISK 1987. It's running along the banner there if you want to see it on YouTube as well. Eric, this is coming out the day after the Sens play the Leafs. Give me a prediction. Your old team against your new one. What's going to happen in that game?
It's going to be.
We're testing you here, Eric.
No. I have a Sens win. I will always go and donate all of my hard-earned money to. I never bet against the Sens, and it hurts me to not bet against them. But I think I'm still going to say like it'll be something like a 4-3, or if there's an empty netter, a 5-3 Sens. It's going to be a poor display of goaltending on both sides. Maybe a Martin Jones Forsberg, and it's going to be a chippy, great game. So please don't let me down, Sens.
Well, there you have it, Eric. We really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a pleasure getting to chat with you, and this will not be the last time. You're a very articulate speaker. I love how you got the Doodling Daryl book in the background. Don't think we didn't notice that. It's awesome to see. I love it. I'm getting my hands on one. Great Christmas present as people are listening to this, and they're already full and have opened all their presents. Sick call by me, but it's always a great to donate and to be a part of the community and to help out others like our guy Doodling Daryl. Eric, you're a huge part of the community. We love the positivity that you bring, and we're looking forward to getting to have a beer with you in person and getting to do this again down the road. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks,
Big taps to Eric for joining us. Really fun conversation with him. I appreciate him switching allegiances and always being a fan of the show. He had some very kind words for us, and we really do appreciate it. So those are our 3 vacation SensCentral Citizens. For the whole playlist, you can go check it out. I think we're almost at 100 SensCentral Citizens since coming on to YouTube, and a whole lot more in the archives in audio podcast form. So tomorrow, the Sens are back in action. They're hosting the New Jersey Devils at Canada Life at the Canadian Tire Center. I'm getting my Winnipeg, Ottawa ranks mixed up. And the fact they both start with Canada, it's kind of a head scratcher for me. But
Oh, yeah,
it
no, for
is
sure.
another game day tomorrow, and then the Senators will also host the Buffalo Sabres on New Year's Eve. Tomorrow, there will be a best of Locked On Senators. Pilsy's hard at work at that. And then on Monday, we will have Emily Clark. Great interview with the PWHL Ottawa Star. And then we'll be back in live podcast daily form on Tuesday, just January 2nd. Pilsy, any final thoughts here?
Final thoughts for me is we can't thank people that are SensCentral citizens enough. I mean, Ross mentioned it. We've already done so many. There's so many more to get to, but this is arguably one of our favorite parts of the show is bringing the citizens on, getting a fresh voice. You guys hear us every single day, your team every day. So it's nice to get some other people on. And yeah, I think on top of that, Ross, my favorite SensCentral citizens are like, yeah, growing up, my parents, my family, like I had to be a Leafs fan. It's just what happened, but then I figured it out. And now here's how I became a Sens fan. Those are always great stories. We're trying to bring more people onto our side.
Yes, we certainly are. And we will continue to do so. So stay tuned in the new year. But for today, we say goodbye. Have a great day, everyone. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another vacation edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.